I'm supposed to sing now. Okay. So good morning again. So we've been talking about transformation for this month of October. And we're going to continue that today, the fifth Sunday. I want to start the conversation by asking, how many of you woke up this morning and said, this is going to be the best day of my life? Anybody? Or some version thereof. It doesn't have to be those exact words. Okay, yay. What'd you say?
I can pull out my text, but that I can look back to whatever steps I took in the past, and I can look forward to whatever breaths I'm going to take right now. But how do I make myself as present to this moment right here, right now?
Okay, wonderful. Another question. How many of you started your day by creating your day? Do I have one? Okay. Okay, wonderful. So what'd you do?
I thought about you, and I said, my daughter's speaking today, so I have to be on my best behavior.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Tan.
Well, I woke up with a headache, and so I decided that I was going to let my day be wonderful in spite of that.
Yay.
Oh, I forgot one thing.
Okay.
I woke up and I said, I'm a year older.
Okay.
Because today is my birthday.
Today is your birthday.
Today is her birthday.
Today.
Woo! And we have birthday cake over, and we'll sing later.
Thank you.
Reverend Mykal, you?
Well, the same thing with Tay, and I woke up with a headache because I had this whatever was going on, and I got up and I said, you know, it can't ruin my day.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let it, so I can take steps to kick it to the curb.
Wonderful. Well, thank you.
Well, I was tired of having pain with my leg.
Yeah.
I found out I may be able to go in the other room and sleep there.
Okay.
It might be a little bit more restful.
So you did some problem solving.
Yeah, just for the day because just complaints.
All right, we've talked about that. We'll talk later. So, okay. So good. We have to be conscious in our life. There's too many of us that are walking around unconscious. Because if you're not conscious, there's somebody else controlling your life. Okay? There's someone else telling you what to do, telling you who you are, and how you're supposed to behave, and how you're supposed to act. Okay? So, we all have stories. Reverend Mykal did that wonderful reading. I will probably say a few things or repeat a few things that he already said, but that's good. It warrants being repeated. So we all have stories. Each and every one of us. Now, some of these stories we have created consciously. Some of them we have created unconsciously, but we have created them. Okay? We are co-creators with God, and so we are constantly creating. So, are you creating a life that you want to have? Or are you creating a life that's not so much? It's your choice. Okay? So, the stories. We are the authors of the stories. So we write the stories. We hand out the scripts. We pick the actors. Yes. We select. We set the settings. We select the settings. We select the costumes, which, you know, I really enjoy doing that piece. But the locations. We are the authors. So what kind of stories are we writing? What kind of stories are we creating in our lives? Now, these stories are constant. And these stories are things that we have created from our past experiences. Okay? Now, what typically happens is that we have a thought. Okay? Now, we know that how we create a belief is thought plus emotion equals a belief. Everybody remember that? Thought plus an emotion creates a belief. So, at some point we had a thought. Now, just a random thought doesn't create. Okay? There's no energy behind it. But a thought that we think about constantly. Reverend Mykal talked about saying, I'm not good enough. Well, you keep telling yourself that constantly, and guess what? You get to not be good enough. Okay? So we're creating. Our thoughts create. Now, when we put emotions behind that. Now, has anybody ever gotten angry in this room? No, never, just me. Now, when you're angry, how's that emotion? Is it strong?
Usually.
Or is it kind of, It's strong. Now, it's strong, so you have this anger, you have this thought, and you have this emotion behind it. After you have had your little tirade, do you feel better?
Not usually.
Not usually. Because the law of attraction says what you attract, what you put out is what you attract. Okay? So you can only attract more anger. And typically what will happen is the people in the room probably will get angry and don't even understand why. But it's because that law of attraction. So our stories. What are our stories telling us? Now with the story, what typically happens is that it's some thought process that's happening in your head, okay? And it gets fused with a memory, okay? So thoughts fused with a memory. And so in that moment, you are now deciding if you're going to go toward or away from creating a version of that experience. Does that make sense? Do I need to repeat? Okay. Dad, I need to repeat? I'm going to say it one more time. Internal dialogue. Chatter in the head, right?
Yes.
Okay. You now fuse that with a memory. Could be a good memory, could be not so good a memory. But we're talking about the memory that's not so good. Okay? So you fuse it with that, and then you decide if you're going to create another version of it or not create a version of it. Now, an example of that is, I think, children of alcoholics. Typically, a child of an alcoholic does one of two things. They become an alcoholic themselves, or they shy away from it and never touch a drop. Okay? So in that process, we have our thoughts, we have the experience. It could be, a parent falling down drunk. It could be an abusive parent. It could be a variety of things. But you, at that point in time, make a decision of what you're going to do. Are you going to create this, continue creating this, the alcoholism, or stop? But then what typically happens if you go the opposite way of, oh my God, alcohol is bad. So we're creating this story. Now, some of us, the way we process the story is that we constantly have it going on in our head. We have that internal chatter, right? And so it's going on in our head. And then oftentimes we want to share it with other people because it allows it to live on. My misery now can be your misery, and we can all be happy in our misery. I facilitated a women's group in Oakland, and it was a group that all women were welcomed. And so we had some people that came every week, and then there were other people that maybe came once or twice. One particular meeting, we had a woman that came in, had never seen her before, and she had a story. And she had a story that she wanted to share with us. And she had a story that she wanted to share with us over and over and over again. She might have changed some of the wording, but it was the same story because she kept wanting to pull us into her story. Now, what happened was, as the facilitators, we didn't go there. It was at every opportunity we were giving her ways to get out of the story so that she could better her life. Because when you're in the story and it's not a good story, is that a fun place? No. This woman, however, decided, I'm pretty sure that she went to another group so she could tell the story again. Okay? This woman has some attachment. Attachment to the story. Now, when we have these attachments to the story, what do? But we create these negative loops. Remember, the law of attraction says what you put out is what you get back. So if I put misery out, I get misery back. More opportunities to be miserable. So it's really incumbent upon us to change our stories. Yes? Okay. Anybody in here have a story that they would like to change? No? I'm the only one? Okay. You don't?
My thigh.
Oh,
Not
okay.
all the time, though.
Okay. Anybody else? You don't have to say what it is, but no one else has a story other than Tan. Okay. Okay, good. We all got stories we want to change. Okay. So, how do we go about doing that? That is a good question.
Yes.
But we have to be willing to do the work, first of all. Okay? Because if you don't want to do the work, don't even show up to the party. Okay? So, one of the things we need to do is to look at our interpretation of whatever the experience was. Okay? So we have two options. It's either empowering or it's disempowering. Those are the only two options. Now, when stuff is empowering, when you have a memory that's empowering, how do you feel? You feel good. Okay? You feel uplifted. You're happy. When you have an event or a condition where you interpret that it's non-empowering or disempowering, how do you feel?
Not good.
Not good. Okay, so they're the opposite. Now, one of the things that is important is that we're conscious, right? We make decisions from a conscious place. Well, it's kind of difficult to always be, okay, I'm thinking this, I'm thinking that, I'm thinking this, I'm thinking that. Very difficult. Get more in tune with how you're feeling. Okay, because remember, thoughts plus emotions equal a belief. So if you're feeling really good, then that's probably more of an empowering, unless you're like a sociopath, and then that's a whole other story. But we're assuming that everyone is, well, quote and unquote normal. Okay? So, you know, to a degree. One of my friends had a saying, I love it. He says that, you know, we're all crazy. You just have to find your own form of crazy. You know, that crazy that matches your crazy. So I'm assuming that all of us in here have our own crazy. Okay? And so we want to operate from this place of being empowered. Okay? So when you look at a situation that's happened in the past, something that really speaks to you, you're going to still have some emotion around it. Okay? So things that happen that I'm not so happy about. Okay? That trigger is in your body letting you know how you're feeling. One of the things, and Tan can correct me if I'm wrong, is that oftentimes, so our bodies remember, our minds, we remember everything, and that often those traumatic moments, that when we think about it, we're right back in that situation, correct? Okay, so it's not that it happened 30 years ago, it's happening right now, okay? So, we need to go about changing that, stopping that negative loop. And the way in which we do that is we need to go back to that condition, to that experience. And we need to heal it. And how do we heal it? We look at the gifts that we're given. Okay? There are gifts in everything. It may not be pleasant. It may not be something that you really want to learn today. You know, like one day I just want a day off. Universe doesn't work that way. There are gifts galore. And so we need to be present to that. So if we're holding any kind of resentment, any kind of anger, any kind of attachment, you know, they're wrong and I'm right. Who cares? You're holding yourself hostage and you're holding that person hostage. So if you're getting ignited by anything from the past, that is an opportunity for you to heal it. And look at it, find the gift. Does anybody have a situation that it's just like, oh my God, I can't deal with it, that they want to share? Anybody? Anybody?
Looking for volunteers.
You know, I like to interact. So, anybody? Okay, I can pick.
Can you give a little bit more about the?
So something that you have a charge, kind of a negative charge, or something that happened in the past.
I have a negative charge because it's continual. I have a particular supervisor who is a micromanager. So you try to do something and no, it has to be done this way.
Yeah.
And no matter what kind of feedback or suggestion or proposal, and they may give us a little bit of give me a little bit of a freedom to take it, but then I get pulled back in.
Yeah.
And
I know
I feel comfortable about this because, you know, multiple people have shared this encounter with this particular supervisor.
Thank you. Story or not? And not calling anybody out.
Right.
Story or not? Is that a story?
It is.
It is a story. So what's the gift in there? How can we shift that so it's a positive experience?
Well, some ideas are I can reframe it and be appreciative for how involved this person wants to be, how connected to things this person wants to be.
How much the person cares.
Pardon?
How much the person cares.
Yeah, that this person is just really invested and that this person is giving with this action.
Would you say that this person is also cares that things go well for the children?
No.
No.
That was a good try.
Very good. And so how does that shift your way of looking at the story? How does that shift your story?
Well, it gives me a way to be softer with this person.
Okay.
You know, that I am less resentful about the, you know, this pattern of rope get hanged on it. I mean, the thing that I've been doing is I just take as much rope as I can, and then when I know the rope's going to be pulled, I move in a little bit closer. And, you know, I've learned to adapt to what I anticipate this person will do. And I have also learned that, you know, when I've tried to call this person out in a public way, saying, look at what you're doing again, that's a disaster, but the person is much more responsive when I say, you know, in the context of our relationship, this makes this really hard.
Very good.
And that's something, you know, so I would say that there's been movement forward because this person now will call me out of the blue about stuff and will seek me out about stuff. So, you know, I can appreciate that there's movement. I can appreciate that there's stuff. You know, and I do actually come to this supervisor's defense because people will say, you know what she did now? You know, and I'll say, well, I think that this has something to do with some stuff that's happened.
Okay. Wonderful.
But I can't believe that. Well, that's just how I cope with it.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. So it's reframing the story, okay? Finding something good, something positive in there, and not being so agitated or upset every time you think about a situation. Anyone have that happen where you think about something and instantly it's like, oh my goodness.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, my question is around, I can do that, but it's the choosing to do that
Yes.
that's really hard. for
Yes.
me.
Absolutely.
Are you going to talk about that?
Well, I'm going to talk about it to the what's that?
Your magic wand.
Oh. Left it at home. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
One of the things about Signs of Mind is, you know, it's the philosophy is change your thinking, change your life, right? Easier said than done.
Yes.
And so it takes practice. It's just like when you start driving. My father taught me how to drive. It was an interesting experience. Probably more for him because, you know, he would get upset with me. There was one day, I just have to tell this story. We were driving and we were in the parking lot and he played tennis and so he had a whole box of tennis balls in the back of the car and so he told me to stop. You know, and he wanted me to stop quickly, so I did. And all the balls came flying in the front seat, which made me laugh. But he's trying to teach me to drive, and so he's being very stern, very serious, where it's very funny. But anyway, I digress. A story. Very good story. It's a funny story. So this philosophy, it's changing your thinking. That is the difficult part. It's a simple philosophy, but not easy, okay? And so you practice. And one of the things, ways in which you can practice is if you're conscious, then you realize you're going there. And then at that point, you can make a decision to change the way you're thinking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
I remember when I was exercising, not doing so much now, but anyway, when I was in a step class and I had not taken this instructor before, and she was really kicking my butt. Sweat was just dripping. And I kept telling myself, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. And then at some point I realized what I was telling myself, and I'm like, oh yes, I can do that. So it's being conscious, being aware of what you're thinking. And one way you can be aware is how you're feeling. Are you in touch with your body? Can you feel when you're getting angry? Okay, so it's being in touch with that, but you have to be conscious, you have to pay attention. Okay? So, story, we're rewriting. We're looking at situations and changing how we feel about it. Okay? We're changing our interpretation. So we're taking it from being disempowered to an empowered. So I'm responsible for how I feel. Okay? No one else, no one can do anything to you. There are no victims in this room. We may want to act like one, but there are no victims. No one can do anything to you. I had a situation where I had this boyfriend down in Oakland, and oh, I was just crazy about him. Crazy, crazy, crazy. To the point where I felt myself starting to change. And not being myself, and being someone I felt he wanted me to be. So I go to Brazil, great time. He doesn't go with me, but I go to Brazil, have a great time. So when I come back, he picks me up at the airport and takes me home. Mom, that's not relevant. But takes me home and announces to me that he's now seeing the assistant minister at my church. Okay. Story. I was all in the story. I was telling anybody the story that I could tell. How my heart was broken. Oh my God. All that he did to me. How could he do this to me? Then a friend said to me one day, she said, what did he do to you? And I thought about it. And it's like, he didn't do anything. I was responsible. I love the way the universe helps us along because it kept giving me indications that you need to leave this person alone. And I just didn't pay attention. And so the universe said, okay, we're going to slap you now. And so you will pay attention. Now, the gift from that is that I realized that I'm pretty great. That I like who I am, and I don't want to have to change, and I won't change for someone. That it's now, you accept me the way I am, or not at all. So there's a gift in everything, and so we can shift ourselves from being victim to being the victor. So we need to change the stories. We need to go back. So if there's anything in your past that you feel resentment, you get any kind of charge, that's something for you to deal with, if you choose to. Now, when we deal with it, when we change our story, we start looking at things more positively. So we get rid of the negative stuff, or as much as possible, and we start looking at things from a positive point of view. Because now we're conscious. Okay, this person is doing that, so I can respond, I can get upset, or I can just allow them to talk. The one thing to remember is everyone's doing the best they can at their level of understanding at that particular time. Okay? I don't think anybody purposely says, okay, I'm going to do a horrible job now. It's more of, okay, I'm going to do, they're doing the best they can. And the same applies for us. We're doing the best we can. So, okay, I got upset about something. Thought about that. Maybe that wasn't the best action. So now I can decide to change it. And you can actually go back and shift it. They say you can never go back, that you can't rewrite the past, but that's not true. You can always go back and change the way you feel about it, the way you think about it. Other people do not have control over you. You take your control back and you rewrite your stories. Now, the video we looked at was of Jennifer Hudson. Is anyone familiar with Jennifer Hudson other than my mother? I know my mother is. You know? Okay. So we know Jennifer Hudson was a young lady that was singing. Now, I picked that video because part of it is the transformation piece, because that Shell oil company that is now looking for alternate forms of energy. So that's what was going on there. Okay. Now, for Jennifer Hudson, she was on American Idol. Is everyone familiar with American Idol? Anyone not?
No, of it.
Everybody knows. Okay. So I don't watch it either. That particular season, I did watch some of the shows only because there was a woman on the show from Oakland, so it was all the, excited about that. Well, Jennifer, as you can see, is a phenomenal singer. Okay, phenomenal. She was on American Idol and came in 7th. Now, yeah, really a shock. A real shock. Now, Simon Cowell is one of the judges. Now, is everyone familiar with who this man is?
He's the owner of the show.
Not a happy man.
No.
Not a happy man at all. And basically what he told her was, you'll never succeed.
Yeah.
You're not going to make it. The woman can sing. The producers were in agreement. The one thing she said to them, she says, I'll be back. I don't know how, but I'll be back. She rewrote the story. She went on to star in Dreamgirls, her acting debut. She won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. Okay? So she is got a symbol of what you can do when you're dedicated to it. She wasn't allowing Simon Cowell or anybody else to tell her that she wasn't going to be able to achieve her goal. And she's exceeded it. And the wonderful thing is that she was quite a bit heavier when she got the role, but the role called for someone being heavy. When it was an original stage play, it was always someone that was heavier. She wouldn't have gotten the role if she had lost the weight. She has since lost the weight. So the thing is, we are in control. We're in the driver's seat. What's that?
She's pretty.
She is pretty. And she beats to her own drum. She does things that are outside of the typical Hollywood type of thing. So she does what she wants to do. And has the support behind her because she stuck to her guns. She rewrote her story, which is something that we can all do. We can rewrite our story. Now, that's good for stuff in the past. Okay, I'm dealing with some stuff now. How do I do that? You do the same thing. Now, if you can't get rid of the charge just by going back and finding the good, there's other parts to it. Anybody heard of forgiveness? There's some forgiveness work that you can do. Because when you don't forgive, who are you holding captive? Yourself. So forgiveness always works. And then what do? You sprinkle on a lot of love. So you send love to that person. You send love to that situation. Now I want to think about Donald Trump. Okay. I don't think he's anyone's favorite person in this room. Am I wrong? Okay. And if you are a supporter, I'm really sorry if I've offended you. How can we reframe? Yeah, that's a hard one.
Well, this is a person who's under the belief that he has something to offer that he is uniquely qualified to give. He is very convinced of that.
He really believes that.
And
He really believes it.
Oh yeah, he definitely believes it.
He believes it.
And so we can honor his conviction. I mean, the man has strong self-esteem.
sure.
No,
Well,
I don't-
strong
I-
self-esteem.
I
You're
don't
right.
think so.
He doesn't. He
has strong sense of self.
sense of self,
Yeah,
but
sense
not
of
strong
self, but not
self-esteem.
esteem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
No.
You're right.
No.
I'm
He really
correct.
hates himself, I think.
What's that?
He really hates himself.
He really well, and everybody else, but yeah. And it's because he hates everybody else because he hates himself. So it's hard to love other people if you don't love yourself.
That's right.
Okay, so we got to reframe him because we're talking about making this world a better place.
Yeah.
So if we're sending out every time we hear his name or think of him, see him on TV, we're sending out daggers. It's not helping to make a world a better place, a world that works for everyone. Because he's part of the world.
Yeah, and will be.
So how can we reframe? And I picked him because I think he's a difficult one. And he's not our best friend. We don't know him. We just know what we see.
I reframe it by realizing that the man is really afraid.
Okay?
And
Yes.
having him be that afraid just saddens me.
Yes.
And I don't want that for anybody, including him.
Very good. Yes.
Good.
So it's acknowledging, what you see. Because a lot of times when people act out, it's from some pain. And so really being in that place of non-judgment, okay? And do we know what when we're in judgment, we are saying that someone's wrong or some situation's wrong and that we're right. Okay? And so when you're in judgment, it's not a good rewrite for your story. Now, part of what we can do to rewrite our story in this present moment is, I said, be conscious of the way you're feeling. But it's also be conscious of what you're saying to yourself. Sometimes we're very mean to ourselves. Like one of my friends said, that's not nice. Okay? Sometimes we're not nice to ourselves. And so, flipping that around, when you hear something or you feel something that, is supporting how you're feeling about yourself, that is not an empowering situation, flip it. So that chatter that goes on in your head, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. We need to quiet it down. There was a show called Herman's Head, and it was years ago. But what I remember is that it was this man, and what you saw were the different personalities in his head. So there were actually people playing the different personalities. And so they would go to the part where he's thinking. And so they would just be arguing or whatever, getting him to do things that he didn't necessarily want to do. And so we're in control. We get to decide how we're going to feel about something. We get to decide what we're going to do about it. It's our interpretation that can shift everything. It can shift something from being bad to, or not so, not good, to being fabulous. There was a story of two sisters. And these sisters had an abusive father. And so they grew up in an abusive home. One of the sisters became a drug addict. She didn't finish school. She was homeless. And she picked abusive men. The other sister finished school, had a successful job, had a man that she loved and who loved her. He adored her. Same house. They were interviewed by a national television show, and they were asked, how is it that you got to this place? And they both answered the same way. They said, all that we had to endure, all that we went through, how could I turn out any differently? Interpretation. Same house. I'm assuming probably some of the same stuff happening to both of them, but very different interpretation. One took the empowered route, and one took the disempowered route. You get to decide. Homework time.
I knew it.
You knew it.
I should have.
I want us, and some of you are already doing this, to create your day in the morning. and wake up excited about the day. You're in the driver's seat. You're creating it. What is it that you want to create?
I woke up with an excitement. I almost missed this hour.
Oh, I'm glad you didn't.
I know it.
Well, I'm glad you were excited about being here. So I want us to continue to do this. Continue to be excited about our lives, because if you're not excited, nobody else is going to be. So Reverend Mykal's going to play one last video. I got this off of Facebook. I thought it was adorable, and I thought it was a wonderful way in which we can kind of adapt and live our lives. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, my name is Jerry, Revolution Enterprise, also known as Rev Up. Anyways, revolutionenterprise.com.
That's the broad one.
I like watching reaction videos, and usually it's
That's
music and stuff like that. I'm going to try to do reaction videos to motivate.
Okay, sorry. Ah, you're right.
Say, I am strong.
I am strong.
Say, I am smart.
I am smart.
I work hard.
I work hard.
I am beautiful.
I am beautiful.
I am respectful.
I am respectful.
Yeah. Say, I'm not better than anyone.
I'm not better than anyone.
Nobody's better than me.
No one's better than me.
I am amazing.
I am amazing.
I am great.
I am great.
What's your name?
Aaliyah Austin.
If you fall,
I get back up.
what are you?
I'm blessed.
Yes. Say thank you, God,
Thank you, God,
for making me
for making me
the greatest.
the greatest.
There's nobody
There's nobody
better
better
than me.
than me.
All right, you're 5.
Oh.